We start the meeting. I would appreciate if everyone would stand. I would like to have a moment of silence, memorial of a beloved Debbie Martin. She's recently passed. She was our secretary here for the advisory board. So, one moment of silence, we think of her. She had such a huge impact on the deaf community and the school, and her heart belonged to the kids. So we'll honor that moment of silence. Okay, thank you. You can be seated. Okay, we have a copy of the agenda. Comments here about whether or not this background is going to work. Within the logistics of where the interpreter should be standing. Oh, okay, that's fine. Multiple people bringing that over here.
I'm always learning. Always.
Okay. Okay, are we good? Everyone can see? Yes, and if needed, you can see the interpreter? Okay. We all have a copy of the agenda. So just so everyone knows, on this agenda, we can't take any action to vote. Terms have expired, so now it's time to see who's interested in serving on the advisory board. So be sure to spread the word. We have an application form, and that's through the KDE and the KSD website. That form can be found online. You can submit your name to KDE through the new director of KSB and KSD. Her name is Shannon Spartan. She isn't here because of a family emergency that arose, so she regretted not being here. She wanted to come badly, but next time she will be here. So you can send your name to her, and they have a vetting process. And that will be recommended to KDE maybe in October or so. So hopefully we'll be able to really proceed with these, okay? So I'd like to ask the acting principal, temporary acting principal, Dr. Lynn Petrie, to go ahead with his report.
All right. I appreciate you all. I appreciate you all for having me here. I'm going to open up by telling you all about the new staff that we've brought on here at KSD. We have 6 new staff members. We've got 1 in maintenance that we've added. We've got 2 in student life, which includes a fabulous director of student life, Justin Padgett. And we have 3 in-school additions, 1 instructional aid position, 1 in math, and 1 in science. I am very happy to have those qualified applicants and members onto the staff, so I really think they can add to the instruction that's being given to the students, and I'm very excited to see where they go. I just want to open by saying how humbled and honored I am to be a part of the rich 200-year history here at KSD. And I just want to tell you that, you know, I don't know how long my term is going to be, but I know within that little dash in between 1823 and 2023, I want to make the most of my opportunity here to really lay a foundation for that new administration that's going to come on board. So I want my time in that dash, and by dash I mean that is the action part of those dates. That is where we create the history and the things we're going to put forward for students. So I want you to know that it's going to be full of active actions for me as far as in safety, academics, and the world of transition. Now, transition has been a big part of my education, of getting students prepared for what's going to happen after high school, into jobs, into college, into other transition in their community. So that is what I am trying to prepare our students and staff to be able to complete. So that is going to be a big focus for me, and I have the unique opportunity of working here at KSD where we have the dorm life situation where we have students all week. And we have them from elementary, middle, and high school, and that is going to be a major part of my focus, is to making sure the families have the resources that are available so they can be successful when they go back to their communities. I'm going to make sure the teachers have the resources that they need to prepare those students for if they want to go into a career or if they want to go on to college. I'm going to make sure that that happens in my little dash. So some of the things that we've implemented here as far as safety and stuff that we've already got rolled out is the fence project. You might have seen that as you drove in. It is complete, all except for the gates. The gates will be installed in later on this fall. So those will be a nice addition to complete that fence work. The new access control, we're working on keyless entry. So we're really going to be able to secure the campus. We're going to be able to identify that the staff, when they are on campus, because we got a sprawling campus of 108 acres, we're going to make sure that the people that's on campus are supposed to be here. We have a new second shift student resource officer that is just started August 1st, and he was a really nice addition for that second shift. And then in academics, I'm really going to set a high bar in academic standards that our teachers are delivering for the students to really prepare them to whatever they want to do after high school. If it's college or if it's career, we're going to be able to get those students to that level. And as far as transition, I've already said before, I'm in a unique position to really help as far as dorm life and getting that transition resources and other things available for the parents and teachers to prepare those students. So I'm really excited. Like I said, I don't know how long I'm going to be here, but I'm going to make the most of the time that I'm here. And it's going to be helping students be successful in whatever they choose to do. So I appreciate you all giving me the time to talk. I'll turn it back over. So thank you.
Any questions?
And I am going to actively try to recruit to get a full council, so I'm going to be reaching out to a lot of you that I see in the audience.
Not me.
You want to talk?
Did you have a question? No, I didn't have a question. I just wanted to say welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
I hope that you will help KSD focus on that transition. You know, after you leave that current position, and when the new principal does take over, I do hope you stay connected with our school. Because your ideas, they've been awesome, and we really need our students to have a smooth transition from school into the community, into employment in college, so thank you.
Well, I'm really trying to learn sign, so, and I have some ideas. I've already talked to Barbie, she knows. So I'm recruiting those students to help me. So I'm hiring a bunch of them to help me with my sign, so I can improve that. So I'm ready. I'm ready.
All right, and I can tell you that students are the best teachers.
Yes, they are.
They will teach you sign language.
Yes.
That's how I started when I was learning sign language. I started at age 32, so the kids are the best teachers. Okay. Campus update. Rick, is he here?
Yeah,
Is he? Okay.
I don't know exactly what T is planning on saying. Let me say, I don't want us to do the same thing. Do you have T now or further down?
What? Hold on.
Well, let's hold for that for just a moment. I jumped ahead, I'm sorry. I just skipped over something, but if you want to get T to be here, that's fine. The 200th anniversary report, Rhonda and Barbie, you want to come forward? Good evening, everyone. Advisory board members, the chairperson, and the new temporary principal, Dr. Petrie. My friends, alum, everyone here, interpreters, they're important interpreters, we know that. We did want to recognize and show thank you to everything over these last 2 to 3 years and to everyone. Like I said, everything leading up to it, all the planning and preparation that went into the 200th anniversary. There was so much involved with the committees. And we have a whole list of the people that we want to thank, but we can't possibly name them all. So we will actually post something fairly soon. After the close, which will be October 21st, looking at everything that transpired. But the next event that we're looking at now is the 5K run. They haven't voted and had a decision on as to where, but we will be working with Dr. Petrie, the committee, KDE people, to make sure that we're communicating and work out those logistics. Because now that the fencing is in place, we have to look at exactly how the 5K run is going to work. We used to go over to Danville property and circle around, but now with the fence up, looks like we're not going to be able to do that unless we can open a gate, what have you. So we're going to have those discussions to make sure we have those work out. Another option that we have is Millennium Park, that area out there, and we haven't decided yet, but we will work on it. And we'll send out that announcement through Facebook and then the KSD 200yearsold.com, that website. So we'll be making announcements online that way. And at the last advisory board meeting, which was in May, if I'm correct. Oh, June, excuse me. Rhonda reported on the different events around that time frame, actually leading up until today. There was MDO, the Mini Deaf Olympics. That was a success. We had a lot of students come in for that. And even though the dorms were closed, well, looking at Brady Hall, the air conditioning wasn't working. So we weren't able to invite more children that are outside of the state. So we did have to limit the numbers. And it was basically first come, first served. for those deaf and hard of hearing kids that came to MDO. And this was a great event. We had a good turnout. The KSD had a sports weekend on, we had a good turnout for that. People came in on Friday, they registered, got their t-shirts. That Friday night, there was 3 classes, had a reunion, we went out to eat. Saturday morning, we got started with flag football. That was a great time. And they played basketball. And in the evening, we had a banquet. And I saw so many different people come in. So many of them I had not seen for a long time. I believe there were about 300 people there for the weekend. It was a great accomplishment. Thank you to the committee. So the next event, like I said, will be the 5K run, and we're going to make that announcement when it's time. Okay? Thank you both so much. Thank you for your wonderful work. And now, that's the last event for the 200th anniversary, is that correct? So it's a well-deserved pat on the back for you two and for the committee, because there was so much work involved. And Barbie's saying, yes, it definitely was a team effort from this committee. T and Rick, can you come up for the campus update?
Well, good evening. It's been quite a while since I've had the privilege to be here with COVID. I did a lot of the Teams meetings, and then Rick and Toya, Ms. Roby, took over on my report for me occasionally. So it's good to be here and to see you. I don't get to see as many people as I used to. Let me give you the big picture on our capital update. Rick can tell you some things that he's doing with his staff. Brady Hall, we finally have air conditioning. The new cooling tower is installed and operational. We are running it manually. We're waiting on a control panel that should have been here today, but I didn't get any notification that it arrived. But in the next couple of days, it should be here. Once it's installed, then we can use thermostats throughout the building and control it a little better, a little more efficiently. But for now, at least we have cool air. I had my meetings in there when it was 90, and that way they would, they didn't last as long. I could get people to move on out. It was a little warm. But that's happening. Downstairs in Brady, we're doing renovation of the dorms. They're laying carpet. We're probably about a month, and we'll have all that complete. That's going to be a welcome addition to campus, but it serves a secondary purpose. I don't know if I made you aware or not, we're going to be doing a renovation project in Middleton Hall. We've had 2 on-site meetings, and we're looking with the design team to get that taken care of and get that design ready to see how we're going to make that happen. We've already done a roof project, and we're going to do an HVAC or air conditioning project so that we can, our other money will go further to renovate that building. And so when that time comes, the staff will be able to move the students to Brady and have new dorms, renovated dorms for our students at that time. So that'll be a welcome addition when we get that far down the road. But that's moving right now. We're in the early phases of design, but we're working hard to get that project off and running. On September 25th, we will start the HVAC project on Thomas Gym. And so the beautiful thing there is that includes air conditioning the gym itself. The only thing that in that building that will not be air conditioned will be the pool area, but we're going to do some garage door or garage style doors that will help move air, and there'll be an air unit in there that will help us to turn the air over to keep from getting so hot, especially this time of the year or early spring. So that will start in about a month, and so we'll be working really hard to get that one going. And it's been really slow. It's been frustrating because with COVID, there were so many delays on parts and units and switch gear and all the electrical pieces and circuits. We could have been done, but there was nothing we could do about that. I want to ask Rhonda to step up here for a second with me as well, just for a second. I'm going to do just a little something here and get her to help me. We've been working really hard on Lee Hall. Oh, okay. You know that we got money to do a study on Lee Hall, and so we've been working really hard. We've met. I had a meeting on Teams, and then we had an on-site meeting a few weeks ago, and Scott Hahn was there, and Rhonda along with our design team. And so after the design team toured Lee Hall, then we went into Grow Hall and started having some really good conversation about how could that space be used? How would it benefit the campus? How would it benefit the community? Because if we're going to get funding to do the project itself, then we're going to have to show how it has benefit both to the campus and community. And so we just had some really good conversation, and what I'm going to ask Ron to do, if you don't care, is just you can give these to Mr. Hahn, and then he can pass those out or make them available after we get on. I think I made 10 or 12 copies, and what it is, it's just possible uses of that floor space at Lee Hall. It comes out of our conversation that we had a couple of weeks ago, and so, but I want to make sure that we're really clear. As of right now, we don't have any funding to do a renovation project. We have money to do the design and get started on a project. But I will tell you, with the work with Rick and leadership, it's part of KDE's 6-year plan, and it's in the budget request starting in January with the legislature. So we're asking for money to do this project. But again, as we all know, we have to wait and see what they will fund. But it's in there. I just want you to know, that's why we're moving at a pretty good pace, is so that if we were to get funding, we would have a lot of the legwork out of the way. We would have a design. We would have how we could use that space. So as we continue to move forward, the unofficial representation was Scott and Rhonda to be with us and hear the conversation. So, and then as we get a little farther along, there'll be more communication about what that might look like. But I just wanted to make sure that we're all aware that the only thing we have funding for is the work that we're doing right now. We don't have any funding for to actually do the project. So I just wanted to make sure that, but those copies are from the architect. They sent those to me. I knew we had this meeting tonight, and I've asked for them. And so that's just from our conversation the other day. There's nothing about that is final. Please understand. It's just how we thought that space may work well for the campus. But again, when we get funding, more concrete decisions will be made at that time. Then we're also doing a project. I know we do a lot of events in Grow Hall. We've got the architect that helped us do the work in Argo. That's doing, we're getting ready to do a study in there to do some new blinds so that we can control the light and some things there. We have some old capital monies that we need to spend, and it has to be, that particular account has to be spent in Grow Hall. So we're working on that project as well. We have just finished the retaining wall back here on Kerr. That wall was separating and going to fall away, and we're going to be putting a new cooling tower in there, so we had to do that work first. It's complete. The interesting thing, though, is that there was never a walkway into the cooling tower area. I don't know why, when it was built, that was left out. So I'm doing a change order, so we'll come back with the company that did the work, and we're going to put a gateway in there so that once we get the cooling tower in place, then we will be able to, Rick and his staff or Alpha Mechanic, whoever, will be able to access it without climbing over the wall. So anyway, that's coming as well. We're getting ready to do a project in Argo to finish up the art room. That's the last piece on campus in Argo that does not have air conditioning, and so we'll be doing that art room back there. I don't know if you haven't been over there, all that flooring was redone. It's really a beautiful room. And so we'll get the air conditioning in there. And then we're going into the shop class, industrial arts, whichever you choose to call it. And we're putting a new dust collection system in there and air conditioning that piece too. Once we do that, I think that's like phase 6, but our goal will officially be done. Everything in that building will have been touched, and that building will be complete. Over in Jacobs Hall, we're doing, I hope you, during this celebration and things, Jacobs Hall, the exterior with the lighting and the new sidewalks and all the work that was done is really, it's such a beautiful building. And we're going to do some other things in there as we can. But I will tell you, we also had a tragic event back several months ago. We had an individual to fall over the railing from the 2nd floor all the way down. We were very fortunate, they were very fortunate that their injuries were not far more severe than they were. I can't tell you how catastrophic that could have really been. But we're in a project right now working with a design team and the Historical Society out of Frankfurt. We have to include them because of the age of the building. And we're doing new railing, one that will be safer but doesn't hurt the architecture of the building. We're being really careful of what that looks like, but there's certain standards that we're going to have to meet now because of that fall and just the accessibility, or else we will not be able to access the upper floors. So that project I have a rough design, but I can't share right now because we're still waiting on the Historical Society for their review and just to look at it, and then we can move that forward. So I just wanted to let you know there's still some work that's going to be done in Jacobs Hall. Well, it's a lot. It's been busy, really been, and there's more projects coming. We had a meeting Friday with a new HVAC design team, and I have a pool of money for both KSD, KSB, and the FFA camps of $33 million to do some more HVAC systems and roofs. And so I'm working with Rick and the staff. There was a priority list to see which buildings that we will look at next. So we've been very fortunate. The legislature has been generous in giving us funds to do some projects that were desperately needed to be done. And so we look forward to continue to do those and enhance our campus, and at least on the side that I work on and Rick works on, so that we have heat when we need heat, and we have air when we need air, and we have roofs that don't leak. Those are all really important things. So we'll continue to be doing some systems work. I think that's everything that I have on my end. I know that Rick has some other things to share with you. And so again, I just want to thank you for giving me a few minutes to share all the things that are happening on campus. As I look around, and I'm sure as you do too, there's a lot of change, in what we've done in terms of the way our buildings look, our campus. It's just a beautiful campus. Not that it wasn't, but we've been able to do some things I think that has enhanced that. So they've been good projects, and we're very, very thankful that both the legislature, and I can tell you that Kentucky Department of Education gives me great latitude to help work with the campus and make decisions with your staff on things to help our building and help our facilities be better facilities. So.
Thank you.
Are there any questions for T? Nancy says I have one. Thank you, Mr. T, for that explanation and rundown of everything you've got going. Just a thought about the museum. The alumni and visitors and everywhere else, as they do traverse the steps to the 2nd and 3rd floor, it's nice to see the beautiful history and their memories of living there in the museum. I wonder if they'll have the opportunity to add something on the exterior of the building, exterior stairs, or even an elevator to traverse those pathways. People that have limited mobility now. Is that something that can be in the works?
That's a good question, and I will tell you that we are looking at some other ways to access that building. You know, we did the new ramp around the side, which gets you into the first floor. But as you said, that doesn't allow you to see the other floors and the history in the building. So the conversation, I would just tell you, is out there, that we've had it. The question becomes, it's such a code issue. When we touch a building like that, then there are certain things that have to happen to that building. So we're trying to be very careful so that we don't have outside agencies making us do things to the building that we really wouldn't want to do. But how we access those other floors is a challenge, and you're right, and we have had that conversation. How can we do that safely? And so I would just tell you that at least at this point, it's in conversation. You know, again, funding is always our obstacle is getting enough money. Because when we touch that building to do some things with ADA, it will change the scope of the work significantly.
Scott saying, maybe we could call it like a chairlift. That's something too, that could be added. You know, it would be less expensive and not require, you know, the formal inspections potentially. I don't know, it might be something to consider. Is that worth looking into?
Sure.
To have a chairlift?
Well, yes, you know, what will happen is we'll have to work with an architect, and so in doing so, we will ask them to give us some options and proposals as to ways that we can address that. And they'll also cost it out. They'll give us some ideas of what kind of money. We still want to do some window work, and you know, there's some exterior things that we want to do to that building. We're working our way up floor by floor. So, but yes, I think this is a great question and a good conversation for us to have is accessibility.
Jeff? Well, thank you, T, for all your hard work and dedication that you've had and all the renovations and making improvements to campus. Working with Jacobs Hall, you know, do you have an estimated cost for future renovations on that building?
No.
I think it might help, as, you know, working with that architect, working with the engineers, and to see, you know, the actual final estimated cost, you know, because our community is heavily involved. You know, of course, we got state money, we have community money coming into that building. And I think it can help us envision what that estimate is, what that goal is, if there does need to be more fundraising that needs to happen in order to help balance out that estimate.
To give you just to give you some idea, the rough estimate on this railing, safety railing, just for those stairwells is approximately $65,000 to $70,000. It's just, when you touch an older building and not trying to preserve its heritage, it's really costly. You know, and we're going to do it. I mean, we're going to do the project. I just wanted to give you maybe some idea of just how expensive it can get on us when doing just small things.
Okay.
Scott said, to let you know that the foundation has paid, you know, advisors and consultants to list out a priority list, and we pass that on to Mr. T. And that cost range, you know, every year, I think, you know, we have to add a little bit of money to it. They say, oh, it would cost around, you know, $2 million. Okay, well, of course, it's, you know, $2 million to $10 million. Throw a dart wherever you want. And it depends on what you need to find. If you find things that you exactly want to replace, and then, you know, historical landmark requirements that they have, that they're going to have a certain dollar amount that they need to have, and then we have, the state is aware of that as well.
I know 2 years ago in our 6-year plan and budget for KSB and KSD that I put together, the need, if we could touch everything, was approximately $65 million. So, but that's doing everything. You know, I mean, that was a lot, but you know, if you think back, when we've got $33 million to do HVAC and roofs, so who knows? We may you know, we could get some help. We've got the 33 million, that's already here, and we're using it.
Cody, did you have anything?
Yes, thank you, Mr. T. Thank you, Mr. T. One question is, how soon are you gonna know the answer to our questions here? Looking specifically at Jacobs Hall in Louisiana. That way everyone, that we're looking at having access to the second, third, and fourth floor, how soon do you think we'll have the answers?
Like an elevator, chairlift, that kind of thing.
Once I get
And
the.
money as well, too. You know, we say money as well.
Once we get the stairwell safe so that we can access it, you know, just going up to meet that requirement, then we'll start to have that conversation on each building and the priority list. I would see, you know, we can have a conversation, but I think it would probably be 2 years out. And the reason I say 2 is because that'll be the next budget cycle with the legislature. You know, but we won't have anything ready. The work that I'm doing right now is for this year's budget, so, you know, in our request. So I would think a conversation legitimately will take place after this legislative session. We see what funding we get, and then we'll move on to that priority list around some of the other needs that we've identified.
Any more questions?
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your report. Moving on to Rick.
Okay. T pretty much covered everything that I was gonna talk about, dang it. I do wanna mention, Dr. Petrie and I, first day here, he said, let's take a walk. And we walked around, and I realized right then how observant that he really was, but I realized that sometimes it's really good to have new eyes that see things that maybe you walk through and you don't see on, you know, you get accustomed to things. But I do want to tell you this much. Over the summer, we have added quite a few sidewalks. We've added the wheelchair accessibility to the back of Argo for Ms. Webb's room over there. One of the most important things that Dr. Petrie brought to my attention was our children are crossing the road too many times here. It's dangerous. So actually, it was confirmed today. We're going to go ahead. We're going to run a sidewalk running directly in front of her, well, out to the side, running straight into the walkway at the parking lot over here. So our kids won't be crossing in that circle all the time, like, you know, when the buses are coming in and cars are coming in. So the safety of the kids was his first priority, okay? In the very near future, you guys, when you come on campus, you're gonna start to see some really pretty crosswalks. We're having some folks to come in and professionally do those. They're gonna do some, well, we're just gonna make it safer for our students to walk across this campus and stay away from traffic. One of the things that we've stopped, Dr. Petrie has asked us to do, is try to not have traffic moving all through our campus all the time, all during the day. So we've tried to slow that down somewhat, and it's working really well. The only other thing that T probably didn't mention was the fence. We're probably 97% completed with the fence. We do have, Barbie, where did you go? We do have some gates back there that's gonna really help us for our cross country. So when we get to that discussion, we'll help you with that. But a lot of safety, Dr. Petrie has brought to our attention, and we're moving forward with all of that. So I'm excited, all right? Thank you.
Rick?
Yes, ma'am.
So you already put gates in, over there by Barbie Hall? Or what gates you talking
I'm talking about the gates over in the back behind Middleton, where the cross-country track is. You guys probably remember E.G. Plummer. E.G. was track coach at Danville City Schools for a number of years. E.G. and I took a tour last Friday, and he showed me all of the track and everything. So we've got gates in the proper places to where that we can have access. They have offered to allow us to continue to use Danville, to use their property on, if we should decide to. The lucky thing about this is though, we've got over a mile of track on KSD property right now that we can be using. And, it's there, it's just there for us to use. So, the kids are coming out in groves. There's a sign up on the doors out here. Our sports are coming back, y'all. Our sports are coming back, thanks to open eyes and new eyes, and you know, we've got young blood coming in here, and we've got younger teachers that are energetic, and we're moving forward. So I'm excited. Okay.
One more thing, Rick.
No, you already used your question.
I'm trying to understand, clarify here. So you have the gates set up for Argo, for the visitors to come in, they have to go through Argo to go through the gate, and they'll present, ID to somebody there that's working near the gate. But what about over, Barbie, at Barbie Hall on
Yes.
Clark Street?
Yes,
You know, the old dorm, way over there?
yes, ma'am.
Is there gonna be a gate there as well?
Yes, ma'am. Now, I
Okay.
don't,
It's not for visitor usage, is that correct?
I can't, Andrew has taken care of this project, and I certainly don't wanna step in and answer questions on his part. What I do know that in the future, we're gonna have better access to who is on our campus and who is not. We need to know, for example, when we have events here, we need to know who is on our campus. When Danville has soccer games, we need to know what days they're having the games. We need to know who is on our campus. Again, I'm gonna give credit where credit's due. New eyes coming in, they're seeing things. And this is how we protect our children. This is how we make sure that our students are safe at all times. Will it be perfect? Probably not, but it will be much, much better. And hopefully, our next meeting, Andrew will be able to update you guys more on the fence. I don't wanna dabble into his project, because I'm afraid I'll tell you something wrong, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you all.
Any question? I have one question.
I have a question for you, Rick. People have been asking me about the museum, and the air conditioning is not functioning very well over there. So, do you have an interim fix for AC for Jacobs Hall?
I spoke with, actually, you and I talked, one day last week, I can't remember which day. That particular day, I went straight to my office and called, the new foreman at Alpha, and we had a discussion about it. Yes, sir, we're gonna take care of getting that fixed for you. The problem
Great,
is,
thank you.
Alpha's had a lot of changes, and we haven't been able to reach the top of that priority list. And to be perfectly honest with you, we have pushed them to the max to get Brady up and running, and I mean, we've been interfering with Helen long enough. She's not getting to do the things she needs to do with our children over there. So, in all honesty, we've pushed Brady really hard. And it's not that we don't care about Jacobs Hall, don't misunderstand me. It's just that we're gonna get there, I promise you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Hold on. Thank you for your work, appreciate it. Dodie wants to clarify something real quick. Jacobs Hall, I'm not sure who sees me, it's the offices that are lacking air conditioning. It's not the entire building itself, it's just in the workrooms in those offices.
You're
So
talking
thank
about
you.
where you're at, right, Mr. Hahn?
Correct. Yeah, in my office it is not.
Okay.
Jeff was clarifying, yes, it's the offices.
Yeah, and the museum things, the artifacts we have are pretty precious, but thank you for your hard work, Rick.
Any questions?
Any other questions? None? All right, thank you. The Kentucky Department of Education updates. John Jett, he's a representative, is representing Ms. Sharon Sparkman, as she's not here this evening. John?
Yes, thanks everyone, and I want to thank you for the opportunity to come and just discuss a few things with you. And first of all, I do want to say that Ms. Parkman really wanted to be here today, but she had a family situation that happened last minute and prevented her from coming. The first item, the Conference of Educational Administrators of Schools and Programs for the Deaf report. That is the accreditation report that the school went through. I believe it was last year, maybe longer than that. The report has been received, and they did receive accreditation. But how that process will work when the new principal is in place, that person will review the recommendations of that report and then make suggestions so that the school, any areas of improvement that were identified, they will address those with the staff and with the advisory board, okay? The second thing, administrative decisions update. There is no update on that, other than the email that came out from the commissioner on last Monday, I think. Mr. Holmes, would you like me to read that for everyone, in case everyone's seen it? Okay.
If you don't mind. Yeah.
Sure. Dear Kentucky School for the Deaf, KSD students, families, and staff, hope this letter finds you in good health and spirits as we begin a new academic year at the Kentucky School for the Deaf today. I wanted to provide you with another update about our search for a new principal, as transparency and open communication are paramount to us in this process. Since the inception of our principal search, my goal has been to keep you informed every step of the way as we endeavor to find the most suitable and qualified person to lead our school. Your support and involvement are essential, and I'm grateful for your patience and understanding throughout this journey. Throughout this summer, we have been actively engaging with the candidate who was identified through the search process. We are working closely with this candidate regarding relocation to the Danville area, ensuring they provide all required transcript and certification documentation and other necessary requirements needed to complete the process. There has not been any alteration to our plan, and the hiring process has been consistent with what has been previously shared with you. I remain committed to finding the best possible candidate for this important position. I want to thank Dr. Lynn Petrie for stepping in as a temporary acting principal during this time, as it is important to have leadership in place until we can hire for the full-time role. Dr. Petrie has been doing a great job, and I know he is looking forward to returning to his role as a post-secondary transition specialist in KDE's Office of Special Education and Early Learning. I hope everyone has a wonderful start to the 2023-2024 school year. And as soon as I have an update, it will be shared with you. Regards, Jason Glass, Commissioner of Education. And the only other topic is policies and procedures status update. And at the Kentucky Board of Education meeting in August, the recommendation was to adopt the policies as they are written. This will include Senate Bill 150. We currently do not have a curriculum that addresses any of the topics in Senate Bill 150. We will develop curriculum committees after the start of school in August to address updating the curriculum in both state schools. At that time, we will ask for input from teachers, administrators, advisory board members, students, community members about what topics they would like to see included in the curriculum. This process will assist us in updating the curriculum and build consistency in our state schools. That's all I have.
And this is from Commissioner Glass right here. We, the advisory board, the KSB advisory board, have been in touch to talk about this, and address concerns about language, understanding the deaf perspective, the blind perspective, and other issues as well. So, the board get the message here, the commissioner replied. It looks like this is a team report here, all in support of it. And actually, said that they're working on exactly what you spoke about, curriculum and everything else, so. then it's the same message that we got here. And the committee here has a copy of that, thank you.
Exactly, the topics are not currently addressed in the curriculum, so we will develop teams that moving forward, if there are topics that both advisory boards feel are important, then those can be added to the curriculum, and then we'll move forward with the other requirements of Senate Bill 150.
Okay.
Thank you.
Did anyone have questions?
Any questions?
We don't have any questions for you. Thank you so much for your. Is there anything else you needed to add?
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Now,
Goals, objectives, recommendations, a couple of things. One recommendation is asking KDE to proceed with applications for those who would like to serve on the advisory board as soon as possible. Instead of waiting, go ahead and move on that, getting people to fill out applications. Second recommendation is it would be nice to have KSD and KSD advisory boards together on a retreat once a year with KDE, KSD, KDE, KSD administration getting to know each other, having an orientation, discussing roles, and so that way we're sure each institution is comfortable with their roles. Of course, we have 2 schools, but based on my personal experience historically, I was an administrator at that time, and there was one actually we exchanged notes with KSB and KSD, which was very enjoyable. And so it was a very nice experience doing that. So we do have a recommendation for KDE to consider a venture like that. That's all I have. Are there any other recommendations? And Jeff is saying, no, I do support that recommendation. I think it's a good idea. I know that KSB has its own particular issues and KSD has their own particular issues, and sometimes they align. It would make sense, even on the organizational chart, to have KSD working together. And that way they could understand each other better and provide better support for each other. Because they're at the same level on the organizational chart directly under KDE. So I do agree. And I think once a year is a great idea. Any others? And I agree exactly with what Jeff said. I feel strongly the same way. I'm in strong support of both schools being together. It's better than being isolated. Okay. And I think that's all that I have. We're looking at public comments. Can we get that paper behind you? We didn't, there's none here. I did forget to, yeah, it was posted to sign up before the council meeting. Yes.
Well, I did forget to sign my name.
It's okay if we have, well, there are no comments there. What does the committee think? They did an email, comments from one person. It was a parent. To be concise here, since I do have a daughter with autism, with difficulty for them to express themselves, so looking at providing ASL communication in the school. So she's wanting us to provide support, so I guess we could recommend and refer this over to KDE to see if they can help the parent encourage a school to provide ASL support for that student in the hearing, even though it's a public school, in a hearing child who is nonverbal and autistic. So there's more information here, and I believe everyone here should have a copy of that. Okay, well, well, we can vote, or I can vote to approve and close the meeting, so that should, I guess that concludes the meeting. We are done, so good luck with the next board members coming on board. Nancy's asking, when is the next meeting date? And Scott is saying that isn't for us to decide. KDE, it will be in November, yes, but it's up to, looking at filling the positions. And you all are more than welcome to apply for seats again. The community members can apply. So hopefully, they will proceed with this. And they can have a fully membered committee of 9 people. So thank you all so much. Thank you.